Ah yes, tennis. The sport where gentlemen come together to engage in organised friendly battle. Oh wait. Tennis is known to many as a posh, genteel sport. However, we've seen a change in this dynamic in the decades that have gone by. So how did we go from this to this? And has it propelled the sport into the spotlight or portrayed our beloved game in a negative way? To understand this phenomenon, we first have to look at how we got here in the first place. Let's start by looking at the roots of tennis. Many have the perception that tennis was a sport for the well-behaved gentlemen or ladies, since back in the day, those who took part in the sport were generally well off. Tennis was also played at venues that were perceived as a rich man's fantasy, in exclusive country clubs with strict dress codes. As a result, tennis was seen as very posh, with players' conduct being prim and proper. Back then, even questioning a line call would be condemned and seen as very unbecoming. Take Rod Laver's word for it. The roughest thing I ever said to an umpire was, "Are you sure?" Then these two showed up. These two Americans changed tennis in ways many could not imagine. Jimmy Connors brought the two-handed backhand to the sport and introduced longevity to a tennis career, while John McEnroe reinvented serve and volley and left-handed tennis. But they would leave quite a mark outside of their tennis wizardry as well, thanks to their tempers. You see, back then, there was no Hawkeye system, and lines were called by linespeople and finalized by umpires. As a result of human error, some calls that may not go their way might enrage some players, and boy do these two get enraged. They were also unapologetic about their behaviour and have no qualms about wearing their hearts on their sleeves, something that the tennis audience was not used to at the time.
You cannot be serious! That ball was on the line! Shot flew up!
Soon though, line calls wouldn't be the only thing tennis players would disagree on. Enter rebel Andre Agassi. Many know him for his bad boy turn good image, and he's hailed as a great philanthropist. But we also remember that he boycotted Wimbledon for 3 years as he was severely disturbed by the all-white dress code at the All England Club. Look at pics of Agassi with his mullet and his colourful on-court apparel, and you know why he wasn't happy about having to wear only white at Wimbledon. So what do tennis tirades look like now, especially with rules being more relaxed and the Hawkeye system eliminating bad line calls? So yeah, tennis players can have a go at umpires or even at each other, about anything and everything. Critics have definitely sung critical tunes when referring to the likes of Nick Kyrgios, who is this generation's tennis poster boy for questionable behaviour. Of course, the Aussie isn't the only notable player who has let his temper rip on the court. Even the game's top players have had their moments in the not-so-positive spotlight. Look at Serena Williams. And oh, even greatest of all time, Federer has had quite a few moments on court too. Actually, we think that sometimes aggression and conflict can in fact help the sport to grow in popularity. See this? Medvedev trying to call out Tsitsipas for his lack of respect when Tsitsipas did not apologize after hitting a net court in a rally. Ever since their Miami 2018 clash, in which both players were ranked outside the top 50, we have seen quite a rivalry develop over the past 3 years, up to their recent clash at the Australian Open semi-final, with Medvedev winning in straight sets. Whatever the pundits may say, these rivalries are what gets people talking and watching, and it's what makes tennis entertaining. When two young hotheads lock horns, it makes things interesting and rather promising for the future of tennis. There would be intense media attention whenever Medvedev and Tsitsipas meet, and everyone will want to see what happens next. And it won't be the kind of friendly fire we see when Federer and Nadal clash on court. For these two gentlemen, the battle is played out with rackets and a tennis ball, and ends one game, set, match is called, often culminating in a warm embrace over the net. A gentlemanly clash gives us warm and fuzzy feelings, but the tension in the air when two bad boys fight it out is probably a lot more entertaining and exciting. However, we of course need to know where to draw the line. This is a very grey area after all. Here is a prime example of when sometimes rebellion can get out of control and taken out of context. In a US Open final that was seen as the changing of guards on the WTA tour, Serena Williams turned the occasion into a very bitter and also rather political affair. After receiving a point penalty on the second court violation, she accused umpire Carlos Ramos of sexism, calling him out for a first violation of coaching when her coach Patrick Mouratoglou prompted Williams to close in on the net. The world then watched the ugliest spectacle tennis had seen in years, where Williams would berate Ramos for the duration of the changeover, receive a game penalty, then further call him out for sexism. Some say we watch sports as an escape, to take us away from the harsher reality we live in, but perhaps certain social issues do find their way onto the tennis court. No matter what, tennis will always be considered a posh sport. It doesn't have the reputation and heated exchanges other sports have. That's why rebels have their place in tennis too, to keep things interesting and entertaining. Whether they choose to fire at governing bodies or at each other, if we can find a balance between hostile exchanges and friendly fire, tennis will continue to be a great sport. Just make sure to dispose of that smashed racket properly after the display of rage.